Imagine fighting in World War II, but instead of carrying a rifle, your weapon is deception. This is the story of the Ghost Army, one of the most bizarre and brilliant military units ever created. Officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, this top-secret American unit didn't fight the enemy in the traditional way. Instead, they used inflatable tanks, fake radio transmissions, and carefully engineered sound effects to trick German forces into seeing and hearing things that weren't actually there. Yes, inflatable tanks. At first, it sounds almost ridiculous. But in the chaos of war, where decisions are made quickly and information is often incomplete, even the smallest illusion can change everything. The men of the Ghost Army weren't typical soldiers. Many were artists, illustrators, architects, designers, and sound engineers. In civilian life, they worked in creative industries. People trained to understand perception, detail, and how to manipulate what others see and believe. During the war, those exact skills became weapons. The Ghost Army had the ability to simulate an entire division, around 30,000 troops, using only about 1,000 men. That's the power of deception when it's done right. They relied on four major types of illusion. First, visual deception. This is where the famous inflatable tanks and fake artillery came into play. These weren't just random props. They were carefully designed to look convincing from the air and at a distance. Crews would set them up in realistic formations, complete with tire tracks, footprints, and even staged activity around the vehicles to sell the illusion. From above, enemy reconnaissance planes would see what looked like a fully equipped army preparing for battle. Second, sonic deception. The unit used powerful speakers mounted on trucks to broadcast pre-recorded sounds of military activity. Tanks moving, soldiers marching, engineers building bridges. These recordings were created using real equipment and were mixed to sound as authentic as possible. They could project these sounds over long distances, making it seem like an entire force was advancing, even when the area was nearly empty. Third, radio deception. Specialized operators mimicked the radio traffic of real military units. They didn't just send random messages, they copied the exact communication styles, slang, and timing patterns of specific divisions. To German intelligence listening in, everything sounded completely legitimate. And finally, physical deception. Soldiers would wear fake unit patches, drive vehicles with false markings, and sometimes even interact with civilians in nearby towns, casually leaking information about troop movements. Every detail mattered. Every action reinforced the illusion. The Ghost Army didn't just create fake equipment. They created believable realities. One of their most famous missions happened in 1945, near the end of the war. Their objective was to mislead German forces about where Allied troops would cross the Rhine River. The Ghost Army set up an elaborate deception operation, complete with fake camps, dummy tanks, and constant noise simulating preparations for a major crossing. German forces took the bait. They concentrated their defenses in the wrong location. Meanwhile, the real Allied troops crossed the river elsewhere, facing significantly less resistance. Operations like this helped speed up the end of the war and reduced casualties on the Allied side. Historians believe the Ghost Army's efforts saved thousands, possibly tens of thousands, of lives, and yet almost no one knew about them. Their mission was classified as top secret. Even after the war ended, the soldiers were ordered not to speak about what they had done. For decades, their story remained hidden, buried in military archives. It wasn't until the 1990s that the truth finally came out. By then, many of the men who served in the Ghost Army had already passed away, never seeing their work fully recognized. Today, their legacy is finally being acknowledged. The Ghost Army is now considered one of the most innovative and effective deception units in military history, proof that creativity can be just as powerful as firepower. They showed that war isn't just fought with bullets and bombs. It's fought with ideas, with perception, with illusion. So next time you picture World War II, don't just imagine soldiers on the battlefield. Imagine inflatable tanks, fake armies, and a group of creative minds who turned imagination into one of the most powerful weapons of the war. Because sometimes the greatest victories aren't won by force, but by making the enemy believe something that was never real. If you found this story interesting, make sure to like and follow for more hidden stories from history.